Hey everyone, it's Amber Spotted Elk at the Paper Owl and welcome to my channel. Today we have 5 Christmas DIYs in store for you and I love every single one of them. So if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel. Comment below, let me know which project is your favorite. And as always, if you'd like to become part of the Paper Owl family, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified every single time that I upload. And without further ado, let's get started. Hey everyone, so we're starting out with DIY number 1. We're going to use 2 of these bells from the Dollar Tree, some nautical rope, some twine, some ribbon, a couple of the picks from the Dollar Tree as well. I start off by removing all of this stuff on top of the bell. Luckily it wasn't glued on, it was just like attached through some holes, so thankfully I was able to just pull it off and didn't have to deal with like a whole bunch of stuff like glued on there. So I did clean these because I am going to spray paint them, and there was like something on there. I don't know what it was. And I'm going to be taking this ribbon from Michael's. I got it on clearance. Excuse me, I got it on clearance. It was originally $10. They had fall clearance 70% off, so I got it for $3, and I love this ribbon. Like, really, you could use it any time of the year in my opinion. If of course, use whichever ribbon is going to match your decor and is more your style or flavor. I am trying to make like a little bit of a bigger bow here, and it's just not turning out the way that I like it. So I end up unraveling a couple of the loops because I just looped this ribbon on top of itself. I made it into a double bow, so it's got 2 of the loops on each side. Again, I tie it with the twine. I wrap that extra piece of ribbon around in the middle just to kind of give it a more polished look. And I glue that down. I fluff up my 2 sides there. And then I want to make some tails for this. I try and use my scrap here to be resourceful, but they were just too stubby. They weren't big enough for the size of the bow. So I end up just using that as one of the tails, and I cut off another piece to make the other end. Of course, I dovetail those ends by cutting out a little triangle at the bottom there. It just gives it more of a finished look, and I make sure that these tails are nice and tucked in and you're not seeing any of them from the front side, so it doesn't look like we pieced this bow together. It looks like it was supposed to be that way. So make sure that your tail ends aren't like sticking out in weird places. I take apart these 2 apple picks from the Dollar Tree, and I love these picks. They come with a lot of good greenery on them. They've got a pine cone, berries, the apple. I love that apple. I don't know why, but I really love it. So I start piecing things back together, seeing how I want it laid out. I decide not to use the apple here, but I am going to use those apples, and when I do, it will be glorious. So I laid everything out and I start putting it together now. I kind of butt the ends together, and then I use some twine to secure it, and I really like this. It gives it a nice base, and it covers up the butt ends of your florals, so the tail ends of your florals, however you want to say it. And then it gives anything that you want to stick on in the middle a nice good solid base. And then you can always glue that really easily to a project, or you can even tie it on if you want to try and reuse your florals. So it leaves you with some options. So I really do like using that twine in the middle. So I'm still trying to use the apples, as you can see there. I decide I've got some pine cones, some that were just laying around. I think I used maybe one from the bag of pine cones from the Dollar Tree, but so I glue those on, and you can see they have a nice solid base where I have that twine. So I really do like doing that. If you've never tried it, I would definitely give it a shot when you're piecing your florals together, because I feel like it really does help a lot. So I just fluffed up my florals a little bit. I decide that I want to paint my pine cones with a little bit of Waverly white chalk paint, just to give it kind of that frosted snow look. I decide not to flock the rest of my florals. I I thought about it and just decided that wasn't necessarily the look I wanted to go for, to flock the whole thing. And then I put my smaller twine through the bell, and then I tie my nautical rope down at the bottom. One, so that the rope doesn't go all the way up through the bell again, but also because I want that larger knot down at the bottom to act as the um, the inside of the bell part that makes the bell sound. I don't know what that's called. If you know what it's called, comment below, because I cannot think of what that's called. But anyway, so that nautical rope is kind of acting as that bell piece, that wider piece there. So I do that on both sides. I decide that I want these bells staggered, so I don't want them when they hang to be even. I want them to one to be a little bit higher than the other one. So I decide where that length's at, and then I take a piece of twine and I tie the rope together where I'm going to start attaching my bow and my swag. And I don't I put a little hot glue just to keep it in place. I want to make sure that my bow and my swag are going to be nice and center, and that they're not going to be lopsided on that. And then I wanted to cover the top of the bells because they just had those holes in them from where the other arrangements were attached before. And I was going to doll these up even more with some more greenery and berries and stuff, but I decided I wanted to leave them more on the minimalist side and let my bow and my swag kind of take the show here. So by all means, you can jazz up those bells as much as you want to. I just didn't want to go super extra on them. So I love the way this turned out. It is so cute. Look at that. I love that. I love the staggered bell look. Again, I like that, just the minimal greenery just at the top, just a little something. And I am so happy with this piece. Next up, DIY number 2. We have got this hula hoop from the Dollar Tree, spray painted in Rust-Oleum's chalk spray paint. I did take all that foil that was originally on the hula hoop, and then I did open it and spill out all those beads that are inside that make that like hula hoop sound. So I dumped those all out. When I showed you the hula hoop, I showed you that connector piece, and that's where you open it up and dump those beads out. There's not a lot in there, and it's not like super messy or anything. Again, here I'm taking my florals and I'm taking the butts, wrapping them in twine. I feel like this helps your floral piece be a lot more secure as well. It's not just, all these loose glued together pieces. It's a kind of a nice sturdy floral piece. I really do like that about having the twine in the middle. So I'm just kind of playing with where I'm going to lay things out, and I have been in love with using like a quarter end of your wreath. So if you're using like these smaller circular wreaths where it's like the metal hoop or the hula hoop and it's not like a thick wreath base, I love using just like the floral piece down at the bottom or at the top or on the sides, and it's just kind of that like minimalist wreath feel. And I'm just digging that vibe so much lately. I did a couple fall wreaths like that as well, and I just love that look. I love that aesthetic. It just has a certain vibe for me. So I made a bow out of the black and red buffalo check, and I just put some berries in the middle of that bow. I decided that the white was a little too white for the look I was going for, so I decided to add these red pip berries around the hula hoop. So I didn't put them all the way through where I was connecting my floral piece. I did not put the berries there because I wanted these to go as far as possible, and I did end up using I think about 2.5 packs of these pip berries. So just to keep that in mind. And honestly, if you only wanted to use one, you could use one. If you want to use 5, you could use 5. It's really your preference on how full you want those pip berries to look around your wreath. So I attach my bow with a piece of twine to my floral piece, and then I take an additional couple pieces of twine and attach those to my wreath. So this is so nice because if I decide that I want to go in and use this floral piece for something else, or I want to change this wreath up and add a different floral piece, it'll be super easy. I can cut that twine and it's loose. I don't have to deal with a whole bunch of hot glue mess. So if there's any way that you can like save your florals and make them last a little longer, use them for different projects, then absolutely do what you can to save money, because florals can be expensive. Dollar Tree luckily does have like some pretty decent florals a lot of the time, but and so does Walmart. But you can and still end up paying like a pretty price for florals. But I love the way this turned out. Again, I love that minimalist, you know, just kind of certain focal point on the wreath. Like I just am so in love with that right now. Definitely comment below, let me know which project is your favorite today. DIY number 3, we're using this spindle. I cut this down just using my handheld miter box saw. These 2 lanterns from the Dollar Tree, these are so cute. And I cut my spindle piece of wood staggered so that one is taller than the other one. I take my handles off of my lanterns, and they've got that kind of like clear, some kind of design plastic stuff on the lantern, and I decided to leave that on because I'm going to be painting all of this stuff. There's a couple holes where the handles were, and I tried to fill it with some spackle. Honestly, like so not necessary, and it was kind of a struggle to try and even get it on there, and it kept kind of like falling on the inside of the lantern. So it's really not a big deal. I would just leave the spackle step out and start your painting. I added 2 additional oval wooden shapes from Walmart. I think they're like 97 cents, and those are going to act as our base for our lanterns. And so I'm attaching with some E6000 and some hot glue to give it a nice sturdy hold. You'd probably use wood glue for this if you wanted to, as well as super glue, your adhesive of preference. And I attach my spindles, and I love the way this one turned out too. So I decided that I need to paint the inside of my lanterns because they are all white, and I figured out that I could take that entire tea light out. So there's like a little area for a tiny little screw, so I got out like my tiny screwdriver, those like little tiny ones, and was able to get that open and pop the entire tea light out. And I wish I had known that before I spent the time painting the inside of it by hand, but that's okay. It really didn't take that long. I mean, it was a few minutes and then they both were done, so it wasn't like that huge of a deal. But it would have been nice if I would have known those came out, and then I could have just painted everything. But c'est la vie, it's okay. It worked out, and I still love the way they turned out. So adorable. So I paint, like I said, I'm painting the inside of those black. I'm just using Waverly's color ink, and I kind of touch up any spots that on the spray paint might have missed a little bit. And for the base of the lantern, I cut up some of those wood planks from the Dollar Tree, and those will be what the lantern sits on at the top. I wanted to make sure that the lanterns weren't just getting glued or whatever right to the spindle, because that's how you turn on your tea light and change the batteries of your tea light if you need to. So I wanted to create a little base there, and then I'm going to be adding some florals to these lanterns as well. I'm not sure exactly where I want them, so I'm kind of playing around with it. I thought I wanted them on the lantern, but I decided that I put them right below the lantern on the spindle. That's where I liked my placement of florals, but if you want to jazz this up even more and add some on the lantern or some more on the spindle, whatever is going to make your heart happy, and whatever is going to go with your decor. And I get my greenery glued on, and then I decide that I'm going to use the Velcro command strips. So I absolutely love these, even for like hanging stuff at my house. I don't know, something about the clicking of that Velcro attaching is like just addictive. So I take those, I cut a couple of them down. I don't want like really big strips on there, like poking out. So that's how I attach the lantern to the base. And then that way I'm able to take the lantern off, turn it on, replace the tea light if I need to. And then I just kind of Velcro it right back on top of that spindle base. And it turns out so cute and it's so functional. You don't, it just is so adorable. I just love it. Honestly, this may be my favorite one of this video. Oh, I love it. DIY number 4. We are going to be doing this Christmas tree little sign. So I take one of those wood planks from Dollar Tree. I had just put some antique wax on there, and then I decided to distress the edges on this little Farm Fresh Christmas trees from the farmhouse calendar. I take my Dollar Tree glue stick and attach it down on that little piece of wood. And there was something else in this little shadow box that had gotten taken out already. And so I'm using that still to pop that up a little bit. And I'm putting that as kind of high and in the center as possible so that our little red truck can fit down in the bottom easily. And then, and this is part of an ornament set at the Dollar Tree, this little red truck in the tree. I have some pitberry left over that I had taken off one of the strands, and I decide to use that to decorate this tree. Like, why did I keep those? Like, that is just so crazy to me that I just like have random pitberries laying around just in case. I don't know who else hoards their like supplies and scraps and trash and just whatever. I mean, I guess it came in handy, so I shouldn't be giving myself a hard time, but still, it's just kind of a bizarre thing. So I get my pit berries on my tree, and it just looks so cute. It adds some color and some texture. It matches our red truck. I glue that down. I use some ribbon to wrap around one edge of the sign just to add a little interest and put a little bow on there. I was showing you guys that this pack of ribbon, it's like 8 packs, was originally $17, which in itself is good. I mean, that's less than $1 per pack, less than $2 per pack. But I got this on clearance, and it was like $3 for all 8 of those packs, and they each have like 25 feet on each of them. So I got a couple colors. They had quite a few colors when I first saw the clearance sale going on, but as I came back later, they were definitely getting picked through. But I love the way this turned out, and this would be so cute on a tiered tray. It just is adorable. Sometimes I just love these little signs. They're really easy and add just a nice touch to any vignette. DIY number 5. We are doing this a sign. I'm using these shims. Again, I got this 42 count bag of shims for like $5, which is amazing. They're pretty much the size of the paint stir sticks once you cut the handle off. So these are such a good deal compared to that. The only thing with these is that they are sloped. So one end is really wide and the other end is very thin. And so what I did to kind of counterbalance the unevenness is I glued an opposite end to each side so that we'd get more of a flat surface, and that turned out great. I stained it in a Minwax walnut stain. I love that darker stain. And then I created these little stockings actually out of an old pair of Christmas pajamas that my son doesn't fit into anymore. And I mean, with kids, they're never going to wear the same pajamas twice while they're growing for Christmas. So if you wear Christmas pajamas, or your kids do, keep those on hand. Use that fabric. It can really come in handy, especially if it's got a nice print. So I just copied once I got one of them down, I just copied it again 2 more times so I can hang 3 stockings from the sign. I'm trying to decide if I want to do a white fluffy for the top or kind of like a black satin, and black satin ends up winning. So I cut that down to make the little topper um, for our stockings. My goodness. I created a decal. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care. I absolutely loved 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. It is one of my favorite holiday books. I love all holiday books and old shows and all of that. I just love this time of year so much, and it's such a this year we need a good Christmas. So I'm so excited to be bringing some crafts to be doing, and hopefully brightening someone's day. So I create the loops that are going to be going from the stockings to be hung up. I wasn't sure if I was going to use these brad nails that kind of look like screws, like they have the X built into them, um, or I've got a couple command hook options. And so I, in the end, decide with the command hooks, but I paint them like a steel color and add in some antique wax. Um, and that kind of like just takes away that like shine a little bit. And then I added that wooden hanging element and just a little bit of white pit berries down at the bottom for some decoration. I love the way that that turned out. And then you can see our bells hanging right next to it, our 2 lanterns. Oh, I just love this saying. I love that wooden bead hanging element too. Super easy, super simple, nothing crazy, but oh so beautiful. And we can see the little lanterns there, our Farm Fresh Trees sign. I love that. I love the way that that turned out. As always, please comment below. Let me know which project is your favorite. It really does help my channel. It helps me out as well to see what kind of content you guys are enjoying. So definitely please let me know which of these projects was your favorite. And then if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel. As always, subscribe, hit that bell button to get notified every single time I upload. And there's our wreath, the final project. It looks so cute. I just love this. Like I said, I've just been dying over this kind of minimalist looking wreath, and it really does give off just the perfect Christmas vibes. Thank you guys so much for watching, and happy crafting.